Somebody who's going to attempt some athletic activity with a history of injury. So I'm going to ask him to put his hand on his hip to some degree. And then you're basically going to do a figure 8 where you go around the arm, the body, the arm, the body. But when you go across the body, ask him to take a deep breath so you're not constricting your rib cage. So you don't have to take a deep breath yet. I always like to come into the arm and drape my piece up. Six-inch may not be ideal for the shoulder, but that's what I have. Okay, so I'm going to start going around the arm, and then you can see I can dog ear the top of it to get it to stay. And so when I come around the chest, he's going to take a deep breath so that I don't cut his circulation off, if you will, for the torso. That would be limit his breathing. And then come back around. We're layering over the AC joint and thereby covering the whole glenohumeral. Take a deep breath, come around. Come back. I can layer my V's out. You see how I'm not hitting the same spot every time? So I'm getting the whole shoulder wrapped in there. And then we're going to run out of tape wrap on this breast, so turn around. Okay, so you would come back in, and if you have elastic tape, you could try to close it off like that. If you only have white tape, be careful because you can cut their circulation off. I'm going to get that on there. And then you're going to want to be careful coming through the armpit. Do it kind of loose, because the point would be for them to hold on to the wrap right here. Take a deep breath, and then you're trying to get the wrap to stay so that it doesn't come off. That may not be ideal, but it may be the best that you can. Not worried about all of this as long as it doesn't get armpit hair, get in the way, cut circulation off. Okay, so this could be, if you went a little higher, hold an ice bag on there, hold the foam pad in there, create just a little bit of stability. These wraps are double length, but they're a little short. So this is just a generic shoulder spica to hold an ice bag, a foam pad, or just provide a little bit of stability to the shoulder area. So a modification for that is I'm just going to take the tape that I had on there off. Now, when I'm wrapping that on there, you may want to just start, let's just start over with another wrap. If I want to limit, let's say his shoulder moves in a certain direction and it hurts to move it, you can just anchor straight around the bicep. Let's say I want to limit how much that he can forward flex. So forward flexion would be that way. So put your arm back down like you had it. So I want to cheat. I'm going to ask him to put his hand behind his back like this if he's comfortable doing that once I get it on there. And so this is where the wrap starts to get a little weird because I just basically inverted. See how I started the wrap? I used his body position to limit my goal, which is to limit forward flexion. And then I'm like, hey, how can I keep it from doing that? I'm going to use a little angle of pulse sneaking it back there. Then you're going to come back around and see how I'm wrapping around the body, around the arm. Then I can come in this direction and do the same thing. Okay, but maybe this time I provide a little stability over the top of the shoulder. Okay, and if you'll turn around, I created these little wings back here. So if you really want to hold that in, you can turn it like this into a rope and then go, okay, how can I finish that? If I'm going to come around the body, I'm going to go one more time because I just created, if you will, a little bit of a chain. And then you can try to wrap this, so turn back around. You would come back in with some tape to limit. So if he puts his arm back down, now obviously that's not going to hold it for athletic activity, but what he's going to demonstrate is this resists him being able to come forward. So you essentially just took an ace wrap and cheated and made a shoulder brace out of it by positioning them the opposite of what you're trying to limit and then figuring out a way to have the wrap limit in that direction. So I came in reverse the first time and then I went over the top the second time and then I came back around. And remember, like the check rein with the thumb, you're creating a little bit of a check rein with your shoulder wrap. So if you secure that end piece on, now I've limited his flexion. And really, to some degree, your shoulder moves in multiple directions. I bet it doesn't allow him to want to come into abduction. So this would be a great wrap for people who want to limit flexion and abduction. So depending on their injury and what their pain zone end range is, you can apply this wrap to do a lot of things. So if you want, you can stop videoing and I'll show you one more popular modification.